showtime.
Hey, welcome to Show Me Some Television, the segment where I get to binge watch television programs thanks to Roger's Show Me service and tell you all about it. Today we are going to talk iZombie Season 1. Now, as far, like I believe Show Me listed this as a Show Me original or exclusive or something. Now, I do believe it was created by the CW. I don't know that we get the CW up here in Canada. I could be wrong, but maybe it goes under. I don't know. I don't think we do. And that may be how Show Me was getting that moniker. I do believe it's on Hulu. There are 2 seasons. Currently, a 3rd season was greenlit. Both seasons 1 and 2 are on Show Me, so I will cover season 2 at a later date, but we are talking season 1 now. It's, well, what's the premise, right? It's essentially got one main character, the zombie, who was a medical student, and then due to unforeseen events, I think it was in the first episode, she gets bitten and turns into a zombie, and essentially the zombies, I believe, were created by drugs. I think that's how it came about. And she breaks up with her boyfriend because, she's a zombie, doesn't want to turn her boyfriend into a zombie. She learns pretty quickly that, brains. So she has to eat brains. Nothing else will do, and one of the big problems that they have and that they advertise whenever you see it is the hot sauce thing, and that's because they don't really have taste buds. So the only way to get any kind of taste, anything, enjoyment from eating is to throw spicy on their brains and their foods and such. So that's why they're always eating spicy stuff. What she ends up doing is taking a role in the morgue, thus having a supply of brains, and her boss very quickly figures out that she's a zombie, and instead of being, scared, is all like, hey, this is cool, I'm gonna help you, cure this zombie thing you have. One of the side effects of eating the brains is that she takes on some of the traits and the memories of these people. And so, because dead people are often, in the morgue, can be the result of foul play, she ends up sort of positioning herself as a psychic and helping a police officer solve cases. So it's a police drama with comedy and gore and zombies. So it's kind of like Dexter meets Law and Order meets Buffy. I don't know, something along those lines. And then because it also, what was the name of that thing? Trying to think. There's another show that was very much like, and I'm relating to the main character and her taking on, like their personalities and such. What was the name of that show? Dollhouse, the Joss Whedon, yes, Dollhouse. Very much has that kind of aspect to it, where Elijah Dushku from Dollhouse would take on a personality and then she would play out different kind of characters. This show doesn't necessarily play out different characters, but you get different personalities from the same person. And honestly, I think Rose McIver, who plays the main character, the main zombie, Olivia, actually does a better job than Eliza Dushku. So if you liked what Dushku was doing in Dollhouse, and you thought, she did a really good job of doing all these, you might really enjoy the fact, the performance from Rose McIver here. Because, there are very, very different, and it's personality. It's not like a character type thing. It's not like, I'm now the businesswoman, I'm now the wrestler, or different professions and stuff. No, she still is the same person, but she takes on these aspects. So one time she could be a valley girl-ish type person, one time she could be old, one time she could be young, one time she could be a man, one time she could be a slob, one time she could be a womanizer, like all these type of things, there's just so many different characters that she could, and personality traits she can take on doing this, that it is quite the feat to see how extensive her acting ability actually is. The rest of the group is okay. Malcolm Goodwin plays Clive Babineau, who's the cop. He kind of comes across, he could have been like a cop in anything. Scrubs, he has that, a little bit comes across like that, not quite as much. Rahul Kohli, who is her boss, Ravi Chakrabarty, something like that. Also could have been in that Scrubs whole motif, kind of, goofy, but slightly serious at the same time sometimes. But then you've got all these other characters. Obviously, every episode will have a new dead body, murder, or some sort that, you're playing out. And the one thing I found odd about this first season is just how many sub-stories were going on in this. You've got, obviously, the main thing of the crime dramas, the police aspects, where you could have a different, show going every episode, and they don't have to relate if they don't want to, but often they do play into one of these, other storylines that's going on. One of the other storylines, obviously, is the drug, or the reason for the zombieism being created, and the company where it came from, and that plays out somewhat. It kind of gets forgotten over chunks of periods of time during the show going on, which is a little odd. You've got the storyline of trying to cure the disease, which is there, and it pops up from time to time when it's convenient. Then you've also got the storyline of, which is essentially the main storyline. You would have thought it would have been the how they created the company that created them, but no, it's the storyline of the person who bit our main character Olivia, and what happened to him, because he's the first zombie she runs into. She thought she, obviously couldn't have been the only one, but she felt that all the other zombies had probably died. So she realized at first that, she's not the only zombie, and so this is the other zombie, but turns out he's not such a nice guy. And so he actually has this he's a main character. He's sort of like the main bad guy here. And he has this alternate storyline that kind of plays parallel to her storyline, and they interact sometimes a little bit, other times a lot, and then eventually getting down to your season finales, and what's going on there. I don't want to give too much away, because there's obviously it's part of the fun of watching television is to see these things, see these surprises, see these stories unfold yourself without knowing they're coming. So yeah, iZombie, it's supposed to be a comedy, and it is quirky. It is funny. I will say everybody involved plays their characters really, really well. Like they don't come across as out of place. There is some gore. There's a lot of, dissecting and brain eating and blood and murdering and body parts being chopped off. And I mean a lot. There is a lot of it going on. There's some violence. There's obviously the mystery of solving the murder. It's less about the audience trying to solve it like a mystery, but more about just following the journey that Olivia, the zombie Olivia, takes, and how she has to help these crimes be solved via eating the victims, right? And thus, getting flashbacks and seeing things and taking on their personalities and such. So it really is about the iZombie character, the main zombie character, and what happens to her, even though, there are side stories with her boyfriend is another side story, or her ex-boyfriend, and then there's a new boyfriend, and obviously that relationship drama is also you see, there's just so many of these storylines going off, that not enough of them really connected to each other. Some of them did, some of them didn't. Others were short-lived. Some ran the gamut. Some seemed incomplete. And I'm guessing season 2 hopefully will answer some of those questions that were left kind of open in season 1, where, you had these extra storylines that kind of were like, but hello, like, you gotta can't leave that unfinished, right? Like, what's going on here? That seemed to be very, very important, and then you just sort of pushed it off to the side and went in another direction. So, well, that's the thing. Season 1, there are a lot of unanswered questions, which is good for a season 2, but at the same time, it makes season 1 feel like, you didn't wrap up enough of the questions. You had too many storylines going on that, maybe you should have dealt with them more. I don't know. It's not a bad thing, because if there was only one season of iZombie, then yeah, I'd be a little bit ticked. But you kind of, like I said, you kind of finished season 1 hoping that any of these other storylines and the questions you might have and the thoughts and such regarding them will eventually, get answered or be played out come season 2 or even season 3 if it continues on and never gets resolved. But I do hope they do return to some of these storylines because, they're kind of important. But yeah, you know what? It's quirky. I enjoyed it. I wouldn't say it's a must-to-go watch type thing, but if you're looking for something, gory, but at the same time light and lively, it's you don't often get a, other than like your maybe your zomcoms, which this is what this is, right? Go figure. The films, the zomcoms, you don't normally get things that are humorous with so much gore. And definitely not on television, but it also has the comedy aspects of, like I said, a police procedural that's not a drama. It's got its relationship moments, sort of like a Friends or Seinfeld type thing. those type of relationship moments sometimes. It's got, like I said, Buffy. Buffy would definitely be a big influence in terms of some of the humor that goes on here. Yeah, so it never really plays itself seriously, and I think that's one of the things you gotta like about it, is it's so friendly. You know, it's a zom-com that's just as much rom-com and fun as anything else. So yeah, I don't know. It's like I said, enjoyed season 1 enough that, you know, I would watch season 2, not because I have to and I'm a completist, but I would actually watch it now that I've seen season 1. Would I go into seeing iZombie if it wasn't about a zombie? Probably not. Honestly, this is the type of show where I probably wouldn't watch it if it didn't have the zombie aspect. Because, well, and that's the thing, the zombie aspect is part of the fun of this show. It really is. It's intertwined into everything. It is a mainstay of the show. The jokes revolve around it. The stories revolve around it. The storylines revolve around it. What's going on, everything revolves around the zombie aspect and eating brains. So you can imagine the jokes and the dramas and, you know, everything going on. And yeah, I'm sure if you can think it, it's probably either happened or will happen. So take it as you will. I will give iZombie a recommend. If you can track it down, if you can watch it, do. There are, well, you know, there are a lot of very attractive people in the show. So if that's what draws you, and I know it does for a lot of people, you know, with these relationship situational type shows, I'm not gonna lie, I'm looking at a lot of the female viewers out there. I know, I hear about your McDreamies and your McSwoonies and your what you tend to draw, you know, draws you towards some of these shows. Don't worry, iZombie has enough of that for you. And don't worry, they're not all zombies. So you know, if you wanted to, you could technically, you know, date one of them. You know, if they weren't fictional characters. But anyways, yeah. If you can track it down, check it out. Let me know what you think. Post down below any comments. Again, no spoilers. Try and keep it as family friendly as possible, even though there is sex, violence, rock and roll, and blood and guts going on in a comedy that's almost family friendly. Anyways, thanks for watching. This is iZombie Season 1 for my segment, Show Me Some Television. Till next video, take care. Have a good one.